Overthinking is stealing your life. Have you ever lain in bed at 2 a.m., replaying a conversation that happened 3 weeks ago? You edit your responses in your head, imagining dozens of alternate scenarios where things could have gone better. Or have you ever held your phone for hours just to write a single message, typing, deleting, rewriting it 10 times, all because you were afraid of being misunderstood? If so, you're not alone. This is a very common experience, but what's important to understand is this. You're not really analyzing your life, you're avoiding it. We often confuse deep thinking with overthinking. But the truth is, every minute you're lost in your mind is a minute you're not truly living. You're living a simulation, caught in futures that haven't happened, memories you can't change, and fears that aren't even real. Ironically, the more you think, the bigger the problem seems to become. You think you're in control, but in reality, you're being controlled by your own fears and insecurities. And this isn't one of those "just think positive" videos. This is a wake-up call. You're letting life pass by in your head, instead of living it moment by moment. Every minute spent trapped in mental loops is a minute disconnected from real life. And here's the paradox: the more you think, the worse it feels. You're not solving anything by exhausting yourself with endless what-ifs. Imagine a typical day. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, your mind is already spinning. What if the meeting goes badly today? What if my presentation flops? What if I say something stupid? You haven't even left your bed, yet you already feel drained by scenarios that haven't even happened. You get to work, but instead of being present, your mind drifts, rehearsing conversations that may never happen, trying to solve problems that don't exist, preparing for risks that only live in your imagination. And while you're stuck in those thoughts, life goes on, without you. Opportunities pass you by unnoticed because you're too busy scanning for danger. Relationships grow distant, not because people changed, but because you're no longer connected to them, only to your thoughts about them. Here's the truth. Many people mistake overthinking for intelligence, caution, or responsibility. But in reality, it's just a mental trap, a loop of analysis paralysis that offers no real solutions. What most people don't realize is, when you keep living inside your head, you're missing the real life unfolding right in front of you. While you're busy predicting worst-case scenarios, preparing for every possibility, or replaying old mistakes, the world keeps moving. Opportunities slip by unnoticed because you're too focused on managing risk. Connections fade because you're not really engaging with the people in front of you, you're interacting with the version of them in your mind. Many believe overthinking is a sign of intellect or thoroughness. But the truth is, overthinking is just a stuck mental pattern, like a scratched CD repeating the same 3 seconds over and over, never moving forward. You're not solving problems. You're just spinning in mental exhaustion. And here's what may surprise you. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what you imagine and what you actually experience. When you recall a shameful moment from the past, your body reacts as if it's happening right now. When you imagine a worst-case future, your nervous system releases stress hormones as if you're truly facing danger. That's why overthinkers often feel drained, even though nothing has actually happened. They're not just living once, they're living dozens of versions of the same moment, all inside their mind. And each version consumes energy, wears down emotions, and steals your presence in the here and now. But it gets worse. Overthinking doesn't just steal your present, it programs your future. Every time you imagine failure, rejection, or embarrassment, you're teaching your brain to expect it. Over time, your mind becomes more familiar with things going wrong than with things going right. So when life actually starts going well, you feel uneasy, suspicious, even undeserving. And then, without realizing, you pull yourself back into the comfort zone of worry, chaos, and self-doubt, simply because your brain is used to it. That's why some people always seem to attract drama, trouble, or instability. It's not that the universe is against them, it's that their mind has been conditioned to live in problems. Your thoughts are not harmless. They're not just noise, they're blueprints that your subconscious uses to create your reality. Take Sarah, for example. She's a high achiever, top of her class, full scholarship, dream job at 25. But there's a problem. Sarah overthinks everything. Every decision takes weeks. Every conversation is replayed for hours. One small mistake becomes a personal disaster. On paper, her life looks perfect. But in reality, she's deeply unhappy. She's so busy thinking about life, she's forgotten how to live it. And Sarah is not alone. She represents millions of people living in a mental fog, physically present, but emotionally elsewhere. Working with many people like Sarah, I've realized something crucial. Overthinking isn't a thinking problem, it's a feeling problem. People don't overthink because they love analyzing or because they want to be perfect. They overthink because they're trying to escape feelings of insecurity, vulnerability, and lack of control. They believe that if they think enough, prepare enough, they won't get hurt. But the truth is, you can't think your way into confidence. You can't analyze your way into peace. And you definitely can't plan your way into a meaningful life. Trying to control everything with thought is what's making you feel out of control. So, what's the solution? Let me share a simple technique that can radically shift how you deal with overthinking. I call it the 3-second reset. It's incredibly easy, and that's what makes it powerful. Whenever you notice yourself spiraling into overthinking, do these 3 steps. 1. Notice, acknowledge that you're overthinking. Don't judge it, don't try to force it to stop. Just recognize it. I'm falling into that loop again. 2. Breathe, take one deep, conscious breath. No need to meditate or use any complicated technique. Just one slow breath, to bring you back into your body in the present moment. 3. Choose, ask yourself, if I fully trusted myself right now, what would I do? That's it. Just 3 seconds. But those 3 seconds are enough to interrupt the mental loop and open a doorway to freedom. The power of the 3-second reset doesn't lie in any magic, it works because it brings you back to the only moment where change is possible, the present. Overthinking only exists when you're in the past or future, replaying mistakes or imagining disaster. But when you return to the present, you immediately reclaim your power. Now, this isn't a tool to stop thinking forever. Its purpose is to break the automatic pattern, to create a gap where your mind is no longer in control, and your conscious self begins to choose. And in that small gap, something incredible happens. Your natural wisdom kicks in. Not the kind of intelligence that comes from overthinking, but a deeper intelligence that knows how to act, when to speak, and how to decide, without needing perfection. This is confidence that doesn't come from knowing everything, but from trusting, whatever happens, I'll handle it. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, not instantly dragged into fear, to-do lists, or anxious thoughts. Instead, you feel calm, present, actually awake in your own life. You walk into a room, no longer analyzing people's expressions, guessing what they think, or preparing every line in advance. You're simply present, fully and wholly yourself. You make decisions quickly, not impulsively, but because you've learned to trust your inner knowing, instead of draining yourself in mental torture. People who live this way aren't superheroes. They're not smarter or more talented than you. They've simply stopped carrying the weight of 1,000 imagined problems. They speak with clarity because they don't overfilter every word. They act with ease because they're not paralyzed by endless options. They enjoy each moment because they're truly present in it. I won't lie. If you've been overthinking for years, your brain will resist this at first. It'll tell you that you need to think more, that if you stop, something bad will happen. Don't argue with it. Just notice, and use the 3-second reset again. Start small. When you don't know what to wear. When you're drafting a text. When you replay an old conversation. These tiny moments are your training ground, your practice in rebuilding trust with yourself. And one day, you'll find yourself not overthinking the big things anymore, not because you forced yourself to stop, but because you remembered how to truly live. The goal isn't to stop thinking completely. The goal is to think when necessary, and live when it's time to live. Life is not a problem to be solved. It's an experience to be felt, enjoyed, and fully lived. And you deserve that, not someday, but now. Stop thinking about life. Step out of your mind, and into reality. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to watch more interesting videos.